If I fill that, will you be happy if I fill the powder? I did it with my one the other day.
You got rid of all of the snowboarders off of
Yeah, okay. But I told her as a mom. Yeah.
I don't know what the dynamic is here. I used to come to every school meeting.
I don't know.
He's not finished. And I said, yeah.
With that, I'll call the regular board meeting for February 11, 2026
Here.
James.
Here.
Myself is here. Item D, public comments. I have nobody that signed up. Item E, student voice.
Tonight we have two groups here, two of our clubs. First, I'm going to introduce Mr. Kurt Leeds and our Fire Explorers Club.
Good evening, my name is Kurt Leeds. I'm a high school teacher. As Ms. Minton pointed out, I teach high school social studies. I also wear another hat in our community. I'm the assistant chief in charge of the Alden Station for Allied Emergency Services. And we were able to unite those two things together into this club that we have at the high school that we call Fire Explorers. So I'll let the explorers that are able to come tonight introduce themselves.
I'm Sylvia Demling, I'm a sophomore, and this is my first year in the club.
I'm Sarah Vibrock, and this is also my first year, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Madison Jeske, I'm a freshman, and this is my first year in the club.
I'm Joey Nelson, and I'm a freshman, this is my first year.
I'm Everett Solvay, and this is my first year in the club.
We have 10 total members this year, but 5 are working, so we got the 5 that can make it tonight. Okay, so a little overview here. The Osceola School District has partnered with Allied Emergency Services. We already had a junior program for about 20 years on our fire department, but the only people who were showing up were the kids of firefighters. And so I thought that it was kind of important to branch out and get some more people in. And so the club has two purposes. What we do at school is we explore careers in the fire, EMS, or related healthcare fields. And then the goal of the fire department is to try to get new volunteers. So eventually, hopefully, when these guys go to school, go to college, and come back to Osceola and build their families here, they'll say, you know, I really love being on the fire department. I want to join and serve my community again. So we have a few things that we just want to point out. Oh, perfect.
Okay, so the Fire Explorers Club can open the door to many career opportunities in emergency services and healthcare. It introduces fields like firefighting, EMT, paramedic, nursing, and other hospital or emergency room roles. This year we've had an Osceola ambulance, Rachel Robinson, and a St. Paul firefighter share their career paths, which give us an insight into careers and what we might want to go into. Beyond careers, the club teaches compassion, responsibility, and service to the community, helping students discover the impact they can make when they step up for others in their most critical moments.
So we combine things through the school which allow freshmen to high school seniors to come together as one and serve our community, and we also include those who are homeschooled, and we also participate through community activities, which happened to be the homecoming parade, which kids got to do face paint, ride on the truck, and we also got involved in Light Up Amory, which allowed us juniors to get to intermingle and talk with neighboring stations and kind of get to know some of them, and to have fun and eat lots of chili.
Being part of the Fire Explorer Club is a real opportunity to grow. We don't just talk about firefighting, we learn real life skills like teamwork, responsibility, leadership, and how to stay calm under pressure. It also provides us with hands-on experience and a chance to see what a future in fire emergency could look like, even if we don't plan to become a firefighter. The skills you gain at the Fire Explorers Club help us grow as a person and prepare you for real life situations.
Alright, so we had a WEMSA conference, it was really fun. Me, Zach, and then Logan, he's not part of the group that came up with us. We left Thursday morning, it was there Friday, and that was when the conference happened. So we learned about, the first station we had was, we learned about EpiPens and all that stuff, and we actually got certified so we can carry it on us and use it if we have to. The second station, we learned about strokes, and we got a BFAST card, and so we learned all about it, and like how you can identify like facial droop, arm drift, and like stuff like that. And then we learned about seizures, the different types of seizures, and yeah, and then station, we learned about splits, we did, SAM splits, and then we did everything, or vacuum splits. So you, like, can put out the light, and then you, like, pump it, so we did both of that on each other. And then the fifth station was vital signs, we got to take each other's blood pressure and everything. So it was a really fun conference, and it was in Green Bay and everything, so it was a fun day.
So every week or so, just the explorers get to do something hands-on. And about a month ago, we dissected pigs, which kind of Sarah talked about. We dissected their throat, lungs, and heart. While dissecting, the instructor told us about what we were dissecting and what we were looking at, and we were free to ask any questions we wanted. And then about 3 weeks ago, we learned how to do dome and use SCBAs, which is self-contained breathing apparatuses. Once comfortable using those, we go through an obstacle course blindfolded with all our barbecue gear on and the SCBA. During this training, put into perspective how physically demanding it is to be a firefighter and how precious it is, something I almost ran out of. A couple other things we have learned are how to diagnose and treat anaphylaxis, which is an allergic reaction, and diagnose and treat overdoses. All this training allows for us to become closer to our dreams of being first responders or some other similar field that we hope to someday enter.
In the spring here, Allied does some controlled burns. A lot of the prairie land that's around here, D.D. Kennedy Park, we burn that off. And so because it's a controlled environment, we're able to bring our high schoolers to do that with us. And so some of our high schoolers from last year, you can see pictures of them here. And then, it's actually okay to take pictures of the scenes because it's not somebody's house burning. So we can, kind of analyze what's happening here. So that's D.D. Kennedy Park burning off the prairie. And again, it's hands-on experience, but it's also community service. I'll start, Joey, and then you can cut everything here. And so one of the things that I think is really important, and it's part of my passion, is that people don't go to college and spend 4 years and $100,000 to find out that they don't want to do that career when they actually get in the field. And so the idea of exposing people to high-risk medical emergencies, fire emergencies before they ever go off to school was something that, like I said, is kind of a passion of mine. And so club members, they get the opportunity to respond to fires with us. As long as it's before 9 o'clock on a school night, because I had to send Joey home from work, so it was too late. And when UW Wanderers burned, it was 2:30 in the morning, so we didn't have any of our fire explorers out. But the jobs that they can do, and the picture they're doing here, they're actually an Osceola ambulance, and it was like a 10 below 0 night. And so they're making sure all the firefighters were warm, thawed out, had a warm coffee, got something to eat. We call it rehab. They can ferry equipment, which Joey will talk about in just a moment here. And then they can staff fire lines when it's appropriate. We also sort out as first responders, so on medical calls, they can come with us. They can't have patient contact because they're not 18, but they can be right behind us. They can come in the room with us. And actually, I was thinking about this when I put this together. The Crumroy girls, Lexi and Lauren, I walked into the room to a very combative patient, and he did not want the fire department there. And then Lexi and Lauren walked in behind me and said, "Hey, is it okay if we ask you some questions?" And he was a whole different person because he went into grandpa mode instead of angry because, bald guy walked in. So Joey had the opportunity to be on one of our bigger fires earlier this winter, and you want to just kind of share what you're able to do?
Yeah, so I was basically the go for everything, just getting everything. So what I got to talk about was I got SCBAs for everybody. I got to switch out SCBAs, grab a lot of materials, and I got to help drag hoses around and get set up everything and attach hoses. And then I had to get water for people and stuff. And you can,
I was on the radio all night and Joey goes, "Here, drink this," because I'm so hoarse that nobody could understand.
And so it was a lot of fun just helping out and everything. So we just got to help out with the house fire, but we can't do much. But so
I think you did a lot of that.
Yes, and that's the thing, and that's why I wanted to point out. Well, I just did this, but that freed up one of the regular firefighters to go to the house because you can't do that until you're state trained and 18. So, but it was a really critical job. And I know that was one of the things when he went home, "Okay, Joey, you have to get in the next truck, going home, coming back and come pick you up." And everybody said, "Wow, what a great job." So kind of gushing about that a little bit. And then the last thing here, this was in the Osceola Sun. You see it was April 2024. It was a social media post, and then it was taken on by the Osceola Sun. And it was kind of a humble brag moment for us to say, hey, we have this really cool program here at Osceola High School. And then it grew some legs. And so there's I forget the term of it, it's a career and technical education newsletter that goes out every single day nationwide if you decide to subscribe to it. And it highlights things that schools throughout the entire nation are doing, and then it links it to the news story. And there was a college student in New Mexico who emailed me because my email was in the news story, and she said, hey, can I interview for this project? And so I said, sure, but where did you find out about this? And that's when they said, well, we read your newspaper article. Apparently what we do here in Osceola is like 1 of 5 in the whole nation. That it's a high school club and fire department program. There are other junior programs that exist, but none of them are a high school club. And of the other 4 that exist, they're all in like New York City, Columbus, Ohio, and that size city. So the fact that Osceola is doing this is really quite remarkable. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to do this. Anyone else use it? Go back to the safety of our chairs.
And most of our clubs, right, are done, most of it's during the day, unlike these guys that have to be up there and invest a lot of their time to experiences that are outside the school day. So again, a lot of time for them to look forward for our community. Next up, I have Mr. Andrew Barrett and our academic decathlon team.
So this is Archer, this is Regan. They're both leaders on the team, so I'll let them talk about what we do for academic.
Hi. Well, first of all, you may be asking yourself, what is academic decathlon? And put simply, it's just an extracurricular academic competition. We test and compete in various subjects across the entire competition, from art to music, social science, regular science, math, along with a speech, interview, and an essay. So it covers a wide range of subjects.
And so who's even taking these tests in the first place? Well, on our travel team, we have about 9 members, and there's 3 GPA categories with 3 members in each of those GPA categories. So we don't just need the straight A students that get perfect grades all the time. We also need people that maybe try their hardest and fall short a couple times and get a couple B's every once in a while.
So, competition-wise, where are we sitting right now? Well, this fancy trophy means that we won our regionals. We've also had the chance with this, which means we get to go to state, as we have done the past 2 years so far now. And we're sitting in a good spot at state right now that we actually have a shot at the national competition in California this year. So it's pretty interesting just to see how it encompasses a large part of the student body, and we appreciate your guys' support for this.
When is your next competition? Or?
It's coming up. We have our essay and 3 of the subject tests coming up next Tuesday, and then we have everything else at Green Bay the following week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
soon.
Yeah, it's coming up soon, and then nationals is in late April, I think.
I like that you got that on your calendar too.
Yeah.
And is there a requirement to bring a board member to California?
What a comment.
What type of how often are you guys meeting or prepping for this type of thing?
So we have a meeting once a week, generally, just to retouch base with the team and connect with everyone and say, here's where we're at, here's what we need to do, and we pivot occasionally from, oh, we need to focus more on this area and such. But yeah.
Is it a lot of prep work ahead of time, or is it more of like a spontaneous thing that you don't find out till you get there? Or is it a mix of both?
There's a decent amount of prep work involved. There's study guides for all this stuff, because it's 50 question objective tests for most of the subject areas, so it's decently intense. So there's a lot of study guides out there. It's really, as much as you're willing to push yourself, is the entire premise of it, is as far as you're going to push yourself is as far as you'll be rewarded. So I think that's pretty interesting too.
I did meet the director of the regional at our state school board convention, and she actually seeked me out to say she was still impressed with our academic decathlon team. She was blown away by the fun that they had, that the judges reflected back on how impressive our students were, and that you guys went away as winners. She said she had to peek who got perfect scores, and she was so just impressed with our kids. So kudos to you if you would share that with your team. To hear that from the director, I think is pretty cool. So the way to represent our district is pretty awesome.
Appreciate it.
So how does one recruit high school students to study for tests?
Let's say donuts.
I think we've both done a fair amount of recruiting. I actually had to recruit him a little bit our sophomore year. And so, a lot of bribing involved with donuts. He liked Mike and Ike's, so I got him in with Mike and Ike's. But it's also just, a lot of the time, you just kind of have to try it out to find out how fun it is. So we had a member last year, we needed someone for state, and so they picked it up, came to state with us on a whim. And they actually had a lot of fun, and they're on the travel team this year as well.
I'm sorry, did you say you had 9 other members? Or how many are there of you?
So we've got a travel team, and so we're 2 of the travel team members, there's 7 other travel team members, and then we've got a couple of alternates, I believe 2 this year, and then we've got a C squad as well, which, because I have 12 C squad.
Primarily, all are, I'm not on the academic. Are all grades represented? Okay.
Is there a limit to how big your team can be then, I'm assuming?
So 9 compete at the competition. There's not a limit for how many can be in the club, but as for competing, it's just those main 9 travel team members. So.
Very cool. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
With that, that brings us to item 5, which is the consent agenda. Or you have that before you, what would be your wishes? Motion by Cory, second by Dan, no further discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, unanimous. And approved. Item 6 is financial operations. A is presentation of the 24-25 audit.
We have our auditors that are going to, instead of join via Zoom. I think they're set up here, so.
I will say, since we switched locations, if when they're done, board member has any questions, you're gonna wanna walk over closer to that computer so they can hear you. It's really sensitive in here.
Trisha, can you hear me?
Vanessa, I'll just give a little.
I can hear you talking and a lot of background noise.
Can you hear me?
I was
Vanessa?
worried that I wasn't there for a long time.
Can you hear me?
Sorry.
No, yeah. Before we get started, I'll just give a little, so this is the second year that we have been with this audit team, Vanessa and her team, and, as much as you can say that you thoroughly enjoy this process, both years have been great. I think from our perspective, you look at the audit as being something that every year you're learning something new and implementing something that can make you better each year. And Vanessa and her team, have been great in helping us do that. So with that said, Vanessa, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Shannon. Am I up on the screen? Do you want me to turn on my camera?
No, you're up, you don't have to turn on your camera. We'll flip it over to the 1-page document and you can just walk through it.
Perfect, okay. So thank you everyone for letting me join your meeting tonight and the opportunity to discuss District 2025 audit this evening. Okay, so everybody has that kind of 1-page, 2-page bullet. We'll just kind of go through those high-level items, and then if you do have any questions, feel free to just let me know, and I can stop at any time and go over any questions you have. So I am Vanessa Kane. I'm a senior manager with Baker Tilly, and I'm the manager on the district audit. We will start off with talking over the opinion. This year we issued an unmodified or clean opinion on your financial statements, and that says that they are presented fairly and in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The opinion language outlines management's responsibilities and the auditor's responsibilities in detail, but a quick summary is included on that sheet that Shannon provided. I will note that annual financial audits are conducted in accordance with governmental accounting standards, or governmental auditing standards, which is planned and performed to obtain a reasonable level of assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatements. This is not absolute assurance. So that means that we do test transactions using a sampling approach and tests of unusual or significant transactions, but we aren't testing every single transaction that goes through the district's general ledger, and it is not designed to investigate or find fraud, and it is not a forensic audit, so it is a different type of audit. So just wanted to make sure that was clear. So we have issued 2 audit reports so far this year, the financial statement audit and the reporting and insights letter. So I'll quickly just touch on those. They aren't up on that highlight sheet, but you should have copies of both of those available to you. And then we'll go back into the financial results. So the reporting and insights letter includes a few key items for the board. It talks over internal control matters that are communicated on page 6 and 7 of the report. So just to note that the district has material weaknesses related to internal control environment due to inadequate segregation of duties and over financial reporting due to the reliance on the auditors for preparing the full GAAP financial statements and the schedules of federal and state awards, which this results really just in you not necessarily having timely access to full financial information. These are very common findings for districts of your size. Many in the state of Wisconsin and nationally have a similar finding like this, as you're not often able to employ enough staff to fully segregate all of the duties in the business office, and engaging with an outside party to prepare the financial statements is often more economical and appropriate for the district to do, rather than preparing all of those reports internally. And then page 8 through 10 of that report is a listing of required communications between Baker Tilly and the board. So please make sure that you're looking those over. And the letter also includes a listing of audit entries made. Those are for your reference. And then finally, pages 35 through 37 include the two-way audit communication related to planning for the 2026 audit. So there is a little bit of information in that the board should read over for their reference as well. And then the third report that we usually issue is the district's federal and state single audit report. This is currently in pre-issuance review in its draft form. This report was held up due to the 2025 federal compliance supplement not being issued and available until November 30th, I believe it was this year, versus it usually is released in July. So all of our single audits were pushed back because we were not able to issue until that information was available to us from the government. So that completed draft will be issued within the next couple weeks. And as it stands now, we aren't expecting any changes. The report on internal control and compliance in accordance with governmental auditing standards, and the report on compliance and control under uniform guidance and state single audit guidelines both had clean opinions and unmodified opinions. Just a recap real quickly of your awards. The district did receive just over $1.1 million in federal grant dollars and $11.4 million in state grants in fiscal 2025. Does anybody have any questions on either of those reports before we move into the rest of the handout? Okay, all right, if they're none, we'll circle back to the highlights. So the summary that's titled General Fund, this shows the fund balance. So the general fund's fund balance is made up of 5 possible categories, and these are based on liquidity and restrictions. There is descriptions of those 5 categories in note 1 of your financial statements on page 19. But the district is currently only using 3 of the possible categories, the committed, assigned, and unassigned categories. Page 6 of the financial statement has the detail for all of these. But to just summarize as it is here, the committed balance of $433,585 was set aside in the past for agricultural programs. So that is fully committed. The assigned balance is made up of $2,014,000, and that's assigned for future high school projects. And there's $833,000 for the fiscal year 2026 budget year. And then the remainder of your fund balance in the general fund is unassigned, and that makes up about 30% of the total. If you either go to page 2 or flip over the page, we will go over the summarized income statement activity. So your approved budget for fiscal year 2025 plans for a 1.3 million use of fund balance, but ended up with only a net loss of $850,000, which actually resulted in a $455,000 positive variance for you for fiscal year 2025 against what you had budgeted. There is a budget to actual results report within your financial statements on page 41 that goes further into the detail of what made up those variances. And then your cash and investment balances increased $920,000 this fiscal year to $9.8 million. $5.9 million of that is restricted within your employee benefit trust account, and then there's another $3.8 million that is unrestricted cash and investments. For funds outside of the general fund, you have special revenue funds, which are segregated based on revenue streams restricted for specific purposes. So the food service fund utilized its fund balance from the prior years to cover expenditures this year, so it has an ending balance of 0. Additionally, the kids club and middle school activities funds both continuing to operate at a loss. I believe there has been discussion of possibly raising fees in those in order to meet funding requirements for future years, but as it stood in 2025, they had reductions. And then your capital project funds are comparable to previous years. There was no significant activity in 2025 for capital projects. Moving on to debt, your borrowing capacity is disclosed in the financial statements on page 26. The district currently has $3,235,000 of general obligation debt outstanding, well, as of June 30th, 2025, and that was made up of one issue, and that matures fully in 2029. By statute, you are limited to borrowing up to 10% of the district's equalized value, which is laid out there on the spreadsheet or on the handout. And you are currently only using 1.8% of that 10%. You also did utilize short-term borrowing in 2025 and had an outstanding short-term debt balance of $1,103,000, and that was redeemed in September of 2025. And then your debt service fund balance of $33,167 is sufficient, as you are not holding assets for future debt payments within that fund. Rather, you're utilizing your annual revenues to make your annual principal and interest payments on that debt. So in comparison to bond agency's recommendations, the recommended maximum debt service to non-capital expense ratio is 20% as a max, and the district is sitting at 7.52%, which is well below the maximum recommendation and in line with other districts of your size. I don't have anything further on that note, but I do want to quickly give a thank you to Shannon and the district's fiscal team. They've been so very helpful during the whole audit process, and we have really enjoyed working with them, and thank you to the board as well. Does anybody have any specific questions or other comments that I can help with? Okay, Well, all in all, a clean audit this year, everything went well, so that's always good news. So, just let me know, and, Shannon has my contact information if you guys need anything else from me.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, you guys have a great night.
All right, that'll take us to item B, which is review the January people count.
Just wanted to make sure we presented it in the, board meeting, because, we have learned this year that we don't actually need to take it to the meeting and have approval, but this has been something that we've consistently done, so wanted to make sure we had it on the agenda. So again, people count takes a lot of work. There's one person in each building that's looking at every single student entry withdrawal, and we have to make sure it's very, very accurate, because again, as we talked about in committee, it's something that, influences, our budget. So over time, you can see the total head count in open enrollment numbers, and then the 2021 through the 25, 26 numbers over time.
All right, I'll take us to item 7, school board committee report. Item 8 is the committee report for tonight, February 11, 2026. Who wants to read it? Who's the last one? Cory Schmidt, you're up.
Alright, so we talked about, well, we went through the facility study, and we looked at the numbers in every building, we looked at how we're operating in the, we have a ton of room in the elementary school, but that's by design, how we're running it. We didn't want a lot of kids over there. And then we are running kind of by design, we have a lot of kids in the middle school, intermediate school, and our high school, and there's a little bit of room there, but we're close to the max of what those numbers are. But that was some good information by Kraus and Anderson. And yeah, so that was some good information that they provided. From the admin reports that we've got a lot of, we got our parent connections coming up. So parents that are in our audience, be on the lookout. There was cyber safety presentations done. We got a showcase of excellence coming up. There was a guest speaker, that was a plane crash survivor. And we were told that we have a web page update, so, yeah. And anyways, we also did a self-insurance update for greeting policies, and here we are.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
The next one is item B, state education convention review. What's else to that? James, it was your first convention, what's your thoughts?
There's a lot of, we're not unique to the troubles that we have, statewide. There's ups and downs in every district, and knowing that is key to a lot of success and things that they're watching. I went to an AI in school, one of the sessions I watched, and, the kids are ahead of us. That's basically what they said. They're using chat to figure out everything. And it's not something we had, for sure. I guess school touches a lot. I learned that. Like everything from busing and transportation to food service to staff and teachers, maintenance. There's a lot of angles that the school touches. Kind of brings it together, talk to other districts, other teams, and take notes and learn from everybody, I guess.
I always appreciate it. I like the networking part of it, talking to other school boards, seeing how they, issues that they are facing, learning from them. One of the ones I went to was a referendum one, and listening to 3 other superintendents talking about how they presented to their communities, how they, and just listening to their strategies, and how they listen to their community. And the big thing I take out of that is, again, I'm a firm believer in listening to our community, and so I was really listening to one of the presenters was from Frederick, and I know Frederick really struggled in the past with getting referendums to go through, and they recently just passed one. So I spent some time talking to him, and so it was a good conversation. But just listening to, because referendums are obviously really popular, because most schools are not getting the funding that they should be getting, especially because we already talked about the special education deal, where a lot of schools are missing out on millions of dollars that they should be getting. So that was why I really wanted to go there, seeing how schools are handling that. Because every year we're missing out on $1.5 million or so because of that. So yeah, I just felt like that was probably my favorite one that I went to. I felt like I learned the most from that one.
Jan, we missed you. And I'm really bummed because I promised I had pens for you and I was gonna bring them then. And we missed Becky and Shannon, but we thought of you. I really value going to the convention. It's one of our main our only learning opportunity for the year, so I'm thankful we have the opportunity to go. I value our time to connect as board members. The networking opportunities to connect with other boards, local boards near us is so beneficial. But also to hear and see we're not alone, to hear the stories, across the state. I love going to large group opening sessions, closing sessions, whatever, keynote sessions, whatever you wanna call them. Education is hard right now, so to hear some of those takeaway points means so much to me. I also went to a tax levy transparency, it's normally not fun stuff to hear about, but it was interesting, some takeaway points for stuff, to think about moving forward. It's good stuff. It's a lot of time away from here, family and work, but I think it's important.
Yeah, Corey and I went to a session that Dr. Stiles was supposed to speak at, and it was really fun to hear about, another similar school district that's using, social media for you. I don't remember their school mascot, do you know what that?
The Hodag.
The Hodags, I didn't know what a Hodag was. Didn't know that was even a thing, so I got to learn all about that. Do you know what a Hodag is? Yeah, I don't. What? It's a fish.
Yeah, mystical.
Yeah, creature, but, it was, amazing to see our superintendent as a speaker. Even though she wasn't there, she had, video recording, our school district was highlighted, which was very cool to see and a very proud moment for us. I don't want to speak for Corey, but, we got a big, no, I'm just kidding. There's been a lot of really good things that we brought back from the convention. Tristan, your role was a byproduct of the convention, listening to student panels about student reps on the board. We sat in those and we thought, what an amazing opportunity to bring to the board. And the school resource officer is another one. That wasn't new, we certainly didn't do it on our own. Administration helped with both of those roles, but the one I chose, one of my favorite sessions I chose to go to was about the school resource officer. And I think it's brought a whole new level to our district, but it also, this is year one, so we're gonna have some opportunities for improvement and what the ideals are for that role. And so to hear it from a few established school districts was really beneficial to me. I enjoyed that. I always enjoy seeing the local school districts, and getting to talk with them because we feel siloed in these roles. And so to kind of see and hear and learn from other districts is just so beneficial. Everybody should go to Milwaukee at the end of January. It's beautiful that time of year. It was not.
No.
That is the day that school was closed because it was too cold, and so.
In fact, that happened last year too.
Yeah, or
The
2
year
years ago.
before, yeah.
And some of us walked the 2 miles back and forth to Davis. Yes, so it was good. It was good learning. It's always a good retrospect. One of my favorite keynote speakers was a music teacher from Florida. He teaches band, and he came in playing a saxophone, guys that didn't cry, which surprised me. And he talked about staying positive every day in the classroom and being a positive impact for the kids, and it was so inspirational. And he could not adjust to our weather at all, so we heard a lot about that, so that was fun, but very inspirational to hear and to see what he's doing, and always good to have that perspective. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go. It's always hard to be away from your family for a week, but good learning, so we definitely missed the rest of you at the table, so. Yeah, that's all I got on it. Tristan, you're up.
Hi, guys.
What time does the committee even start?
I swore up and down it was 5:30.
Oh, forgive me.
Excuse me, I'm recovering from being kind of sick, so, bear with me. So kind of like academic thing, we have course registration night for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders for the upcoming 2026-2027 academic year, and I don't have to go to that. And then, social, the Osceola ice fishing team, fished in the Chetek Regional on Saturday. Teams of up to 12 students competed, to render their best 5 bluegill, 5 crappie, 5 perch, 3 pike, and 2 walleye/bass. They placed 2nd and 16th, they had 2 teams, and the state championship is February 20th to the 21st in Mosinee. I just thought that was really cool, and I think it's a really cool experience. My brother's on the ice fishing team, and they all of them went up to actually technically fish up there, and I think it's a really cool experience. And then the OMS showcase, March 2nd, and this is kind of like allows insight and activities and events that OMS students partake in. Art, science studies, different games, and many other shows of academia are going to be taking place during the OMS showcase. I think it's a really cool idea and a really cool event that's going to be happening to allow members and parents of the community to come in and kind of learn more about what their students are doing and the things that they're learning. An OHS dog show. Many different students who are interested in like vet science, put on a presentation of different dog breeds. Students put on a show about their specific studied dog breeds. Kind of the same thing, twice. The best overall show selected by our very impartial judges. They selected Anthony Raska and his St. Bernard presentation as the winner. So kudos to him. Marriott's Bachelor won the 2nd district prepared speaking competition for FFA. And now she's moving on to sectionals, so congratulations to her. And then we had a really great performance by our OMS math counts team in the Northwest region competition. We had 8th grader Jackson came in 7th place out of 159 students and earned a spot at the state competition. And one of the Osceola teams also earned a spot at the state competition with a 3rd place finish out of the 16 teams. The OHS speech team began its competition season with huge success. We had Kaylee Hall, grand champion for informative and demonstrative speaking. We had 2nd place for poetry, and then we had another 2nd place for group interpretive reading, a 3rd place for public address, and a 4th place for public address. So it was a really cool experience to be in there and be in the first competition of the season. And from my experience, it's a lot of fun to be in and a lot of like-minded people, especially because there's so much variety in what you can speak about and what you can do. These aren't the only, placements aren't the only competitions people can choose to participate in. There is a huge variety, so it's really awesome. And there's huge success with students' Y-Way presentations. A lot of these projects are already taking shape within the school. Like for example, we have a recycling project that we did. I've seen a lot of different can't miss them. The blue recycling bins pop out throughout the high school, and it's really amazing to see what these students can bring and make happen. So, yeah. And then athletic, we have the dance team had success at regionals. Palm placed 11th, jazz 12th, and then hip hop 12th. And then Kenny Points qualified for state as a soloist. So congratulations to her. Now to the commentating part. Just a few days after our previous meeting, the Chieftain boys basketball team took on the Cardinals, winning 56-50, just sliding past the victory, continuing their homestand domination. They blew up the Blackhawks 61-38. Then heading on a 2-game cat fight road trip. You'll understand why. Going 0-2, unfortunately. Both games ending in close tension. The first, a loss to the St. Croix Central Panthers, 59-56. Then a loss to the EHS Panthers. See, cat and they lost that game 60-57. Like I said, very close games. They're competing at a very high level, and it's great to see. They then turned around and they headed home to face our rivals from down south, beating the Spartans 64-48 at home. And then the EHS Panthers scratched us again with a 70-68 victory at home for the Panthers. 2 days later, they headed just east to face the Blackhawks, beating them 62-51. And then they faced Cameron on Tuesday, and yesterday, and they won. So good for them. So now their record should be 15-4 overall. So conference is going to be pretty close this year from the standings that I've looked, but it's possible we can make it a 4-peat. And then the Chieftain girls basketball team faced similar opponents during this stretch. They took a blow from the St. Croix Central Panthers, losing 63-37. They turned around and kicked the EHS Panthers back home, winning 60-46 in that game. They then traveled down south to Somerset, just barely falling to the Spartans 63-55. They enjoyed a 2-game homestand, going 1-1. First falling to the Blackhawks in another close contest, 52-41. Then turn around 3 days later and beat Shelley in a huge victory, 61-42. Unfortunately, to round out the stretch of games, they faced the Angry Warriors, losing 47-25 in a very challenging loss. And they face another shelled team on their schedule, Turtles, also on Tuesday. Their overall is 6-14. And then wrestling is going really great. The duel at home last week unfortunately ended in a loss for the Chiefs, but their heads can be held high because there's a lot of great things coming out of the wrestling program. It's really excited to see where they go. And then powerlifting is also going absolutely amazing, and I know a lot of athletes have hit their personal best in recent weeks. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Any questions?
That's your best one, yeah. Thank you.
I'll keep turning them up. I'm glad you like it. That's what I look forward to when writing these reports, is making it as yes, interesting.
All right. Item H is learning and growth. We have the approved Start College Now and early college credit program applications. Here, if anybody would like to take a look. Motion by James. Second by Kaisa. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed would be nay. It is approved. The next committee board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the middle school library. The next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in the middle school library. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985-1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body files jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, individual contract, superintendent annual evaluation, and B, considering strategy for crime detection or prevention. Motion by Kaisa. Second by Jan. Roll call. Jan. Here. Kaisa.